do is I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. I'm here by myself. If you hear a bell ringing in the background, that is my dog. She rings the bell when she wants to go outside, and she's probably going to ring the bell. Every video that I have ever done where she is here, I'm recording a video, you can hear her ring the bell in the background. So just bear with me if she does that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera down, and I'm going to be using art resin. I have some art resin in some 2-ounce packets. It's 1 ounce of resin and 1 ounce of hardener. And it comes with this little clip on it. I'm going to remove that clip, and then you mix it for 3 minutes. And so I'm going to do that, and I will talk about what I have here that I'm going to resin while I'm mixing. I do have a clock right here in front of me that I can watch to make sure that I mix this for the full 3 minutes. And then we will put resin on them and go from there, and I can tell you what else we're working on here at the studio. So we'll go ahead and turn the camera down, get my gloves on so we can get started with this. Gotta turn myself upside down. Maybe, there we go. Now I can turn the camera down so you can see what I am putting resin on. There's my bunny. Let's see if it's centered. It's got a delay. There we go. So this is what I'm going to put resin on first. This is a 4x12 Easter bunny. Oops, that is crooked. Let me get it straight. It's going to drive me crazy. I'll look at it and go, that is so crooked. See if that's better or worse. There we go. I hope that's better. Okay, this is a 4x12. And I just went on Google and found a clip art bunny and printed it out, free bunny pattern, printed it out, painted the background of my 4x12 canvas with metallic white paint. And then I painted, after I traced the bunny on there, I painted it with metallic blue paint. And then I put foil over the top of that. So foil, you have to put an adhesive on there, and that adhesive has to dry for about an hour and a half or so. You can let it dry overnight. And so I let that cure for a little while, probably a couple of hours, and then I applied foil to it. So that's this color on the bunny. It's blues and pinks and kind of Easter colors, green, a little bit of gold. And then his tail, the pink on his tail is shower door glass that I painted with Tint It, and the color name is Pinkalicious. And then the grass that he is sitting on is emerald green fireglass. So that is this bunny. Then I have another bunny over here. You can see part of him, and I am mixing up the resin. See if you can see this. It turns cloudy, and then I have 2 packets, so I'm doing them both at the same time. And so I may have to mix it a little longer than 3 minutes to get it to fully incorporate. You will have a few bubbles in this, but it'll be all right. Then I will put it in a cup and drizzle it on here. I don't think it'll take very much resin because there's not much glass on here. We had some really, really bad weather last night. I hope you guys did not have the same kinds of storms that we had. I'm not sure what, I never looked at the clock, but we had thunder and a lightning that looked like 4th of July fireworks. It was so much lightning, and hail, and then the hail kind of stopped. I got up to see if I could see how big the hail was because it sounded like it was going to break the windows, and I couldn't see. Anyway, then I went and laid back down, and about the time I laid back down, we had, I'm assuming it was like straight line winds. I could see the rain, and the rain was absolutely horizontal. It was blowing horizontally. It was not coming down. It was blowing across. And then we had some damage in our neighborhood. Thank goodness our house, we did not have any damage, but it was scary last night. And I know a lot of people have had tornadoes and that kind of thing, so you guys stay safe out there. So this has been 3 minutes. So I want to see if it still looks cloudy. It's pretty clear. I'm going to mix it a little bit longer just to be sure, because I'm doing 2 packets. Make sure it's good and done. Now I'm going to cut the corner off. You can drizzle it right out of this package, but I always feel like I have better control if I cut the corner off and put it in a cup. So I'm going to cut this corner off and put it in a cup so that I can put it on my artwork out of the cup. So I have a cup here to put it in. Get quiet so I can see what I'm doing. Don't make a mess. Don't want to spill it. Make a big mess that I'll have to clean up. That would not be fun. Next week, I usually do a live on Thursdays at 5:30. And next week, I'm not doing a live. But what I am doing is I videotaped the Walking in the Rain girl, the one with the glass and the resin. I videotaped that, and so I'm going to post that videotape. And next Thursday. So there won't be a live next Thursday because Sharon won't be here. She'll be on vacation enjoying her grandchildren. And I'm here with both of the dogs. So I decided, ooh, my hand's cramping. I decided to do that in lieu of a live. And that's what I'm going to post. I don't know if you guys saw the post. Sharon did that pattern in stained glass, had a yellow umbrella and a blue dress. And I used the same stained glass pattern and did it with glass and resin, and mine has a red dress and a blue umbrella. So just showing you how you can take a design and use it in more than one medium, and you get different results. See, it still looks a little cloudy, so I'm going to stir for another few seconds just to make sure it's good and incorporated, because I was kneading together 2 different packets. Okay, always do your glass first, because you want to cover your glass, and you want to do this kind of in a methodical manner. You don't want to skip around, because you want to make sure you get all of your glass covered, because if you don't cover your glass, it will fall off. I say that every single time. Always make sure you wear gloves, and I wear an apron. I won't say it keeps it from getting on my clothes, the resin, because all my clothes have resin on them, and paint and patina from stained glass. So, but I do wear an apron. It does help keep it from getting all over me. That's all of my glass. So my glass is covered. Didn't take much. I see I have a floater. Uh-oh, I dripped it on the side. I always try to cover the top and not the sides. Some people like the sides of their canvas covered. I just prefer not to do that. I'm using a silicone spreader to pull this resin to the edge of my canvas. I'm just going to pull it out to the edge and try to do it without it going over. No promises that that's going to happen, but that's the goal. You have 45 minutes of working time, and I have 6 pieces here and 4 ounces of resin, so we'll see how far I get. with putting resin on everything. You want your resin, you want to cover all of your canvas. I like to make sure I don't have any skippies. No skips on my canvas. But sometimes I end up with a place that I skipped. I try not to. Try to come back and look at it. After you get it spread, you want to pop the bubbles. And I use a creme brulee torch for that. Okay. I think this one is good. I see a place right here that I missed. Look at it from different angles so you can see, you can look at the light across the resin and you'll be able to see if you skipped a place. Okay, I think I have it covered. Okay, get me a Lysol wipe. You can clean your tools and your hands with a Lysol wipe or an alcohol wipe. I happen to have Lysol wipes here, so that's what I'm using. So I'm going to wipe my tool off, and I am going to torch this with my creme brulee torch to pop the bubbles. You don't want the flame to touch your resin. You want to pop the bubbles with the heat. So this is a simple, quick bunny that anybody could do. So there you go. I'm going to move this to the side. I see. You also want to look and make sure you don't have any debris. I see a spot right there that had bubbles. Make sure you don't have any debris. If you do, use a toothpick or a skewer or something like that to get the debris out. I don't see any debris. So I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to move it down here so I can move another one over. All right, now I have this bunny. And this bunny, I painted the background blue and green. Green grass at the bottom and kind of sky blue at the top. Then my bunny is white. And I painted, I'm glad that you're safe, Linda. I saw your comment. I painted the bunny white, and then I had a little packet of flower stencils that were small, and I just put them on here randomly in pastel colors. I have orange and yellow and blue and pink and purple and green on here, all pastel colors. His tail is purple shower glass. He's got this same emerald green at the base that he's sitting on, like grass that he is sitting on. And then I decided to add some glass accents over the top of my stencil. And I asked a couple people their opinion on glass or no glass. Everybody said glass, so I went forward with the glass and added a little bit of glass. Okay, this orange flower that I am putting resin over right there is actually a resin flower. I had some extra resin. I put some color in it, some tinted in it, resin tint in it, and tinted the resin and poured it in a mold. That's what that is. I hope it comes out looking like a flower. Right now it looks like a blob. This is also a resin flower right here that is more transparent than the other one. I have not used these. I've made them, but I haven't used them in any of my artwork, so this is my first time using any of those molded pieces. This one right here that I'm putting resin on now, that's a piece of Marini that I bought from a girl in Croatia. She has really pretty Marini pieces, slices. This is a bead. This butterfly is a bead. Some of these purple pieces are beads. And I glued them down so they wouldn't roll. And that's pretty much all my glasses covered. We'll put a little on here that I can spread out. This right here was a piece, this pattern was clip art as well, that I just printed out and enlarged it to the size I wanted and went for it. And I see some debris right here. There's something black right here. I'm going to go ahead and get it out while I see it before I forget it's there. Now I'm just going to spread it just like I did on the other one. Spread it to the edge of my canvas without going over. That's the plan. I like this pink one, this pink flower. It's a pretty color. Done some of them with mica powder also. These are done with resin tint from Art Resin. Just keep going. This is a piece of Marini also, this orange piece right here, that's a piece of Marini. Those of you who don't know what Marini is, they make, it's like beads. They make them in a long like rod, and they have different designs in them, like that one has a flower in the center. And they make these rods, and then they cut them apart and make, sometimes it's beads, and I love to use them in like little flower gardens and as accent pieces. In resin. I also used them in some fused pieces. Did a couple of like little small landscapes and used the Marini in those. I still see some debris in here. Not being very talkative, I'm sorry. I'm making sure I'm doing this without making a mess. Those of you who are new to watching me, I try to do stained glass and glass resin on my lives once a week, a combination of the two. I don't always do resin, I don't always do stained glass. I try to give some kind of tip every week of like how to do something or how to store something, different tips, glass art tips. Also have a theme every month and a color that we try to incorporate in everything we do. And our theme this month, of course, is April showers. And our color is blue. So my bunnies have blue. And next week will be April showers with our 2 walking in the rain pieces. Okay, I don't see any more debris. I thought I saw a piece of fuzz right here, but it's not. Okay, let me torch this and move it out of the way, and I will go on to the next piece. You can see the bubbles pop, and if you don't think you got them all, you can come back in a few minutes and do it again and pop it a second time. I love this. I think this turned out so cute. All right, gonna move this one down. I'll check, see if y'all have any questions, and then I am going to move the next piece over here. This is a 4x12 piece that I painted the word faith on. I'll turn this the other way. I think it might be a little more sturdy. There we go. I painted the background with metallic white, and then this word faith is painted in a seafoam color, and I have a clear glass chip. This glass that the heart is made from is some really, really thin picture frame glass. Very thin, and there's 2 pieces on here. And I glued them together and cut them to the length I wanted, and then glued 2 pieces together and staggered them for this. I'm going to add some clear glass to this, but the clear glass that I have is really, really small, and so I'm going to add the glass after the resin because it's tiny pieces of glass. I want to make sure I get the sides of my cross covered. This is a really just a simple little piece of art. Simple yet very elegant. I have another one that I'm going to do, and I bought a stencil from Etsy, off of Etsy, and it says Jesus. So I'm going to do it in a few minutes. All right, I'm going to put my clear glass chip on here, and I'm going to put a little resin over the top of it, make sure it's stuck down, and get a little extra resin on here that I can pull out to the edges. And this one was quick and easy. How about that? That was fast. Pull this resin out to the side. This is I love this size canvas. It's not a 5x7, it's a 4x6. I got it from Blix. I love this size. Especially when you want something small, but you want a rectangle, you don't want a square shape. So this is perfect size. Sorry, quiet again. There we go. I think that's good. I'm going to add a little bit of glass to it. And I am using, I'll just get it on a spoon. This is the glass I'm using. It's really small. It's almost like beads, but it doesn't have a hole in it. And I got it from Michaels. It's vase filler, and I'm just going to sprinkle a few on here on top of the resin and let them stick in the resin so they will actually be sitting on top of the resin. Trying to let the stencil be the show. Keeping it real simple. What do y'all think? Y'all like that? All right, I'm going to torch the bubbles on this one. And I may add just a little bit more resin on here, just kind of get a little bit over the top of some of these beads to make sure that they're stuck. They are in the resin. They're not going to fall off. They're all sitting in the resin, but it won't hurt anything. just a little bit on here. There we go. All right, I got another one ready to move down. Move it down here and get my other stencil one. I always tell y'all that I have extra pieces to the side if I have leftover resin. Well, this is what I do. I do little small pieces like this. So tonight I don't have anything extra. So if I have extra resin, I will put it in a mold. Hannah and I went to a place called Madison Markets. It's in Madison, Georgia. It's kind of like an antique, vintage kind of place yesterday, and there's a booth in there, and they are interior decorators, and they had some beautiful silicone molds, beautiful molds. So I think I took a picture of them. I wasn't sure if it was something I would use, and I wanted to get Sharon's opinion on what she thought, if she thought it was something that we would use, because they're kind of large. They're not small molds, and she said, yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. So we're going to get one and give it a try, give it a go, see what happens. So here we go again, same thing. This is the same picture frame glass, and this one has Jesus, and this one was actually a stencil that I purchased from Etsy. I love this stencil. It's small. I've done it in a 5x7, and I've done it in a 4x12, so it's a stencil is small. But if you got the stencil and it wasn't the size you wanted, you could always enlarge it and then trace it onto your pattern and paint it. You could do it that way to make it larger if you wanted. All right, I got to put my piece on here. This is a glass chip from a glass blower, local glass blower. And I'm going to put a little bit of resin over the top of that, make sure it sticks to my cross. And it's clear. And I'm going to put a few of these same beads on this one. Same little pieces of glass. Tiny little pieces of glass. My fingers, my gloves have resin on them, so they're sticking to the resin. They're also sticking to the cross. Okay, let me get them off this cross right here. Pull it out away from it a little bit. I just try to put them on here random. I don't try to make them into a shape or anything like that. Just keep it real random, very organic looking, not any kind of pattern to it. You also don't want them hanging over the edge of your canvas, particularly if you're using this as a shelf sitter. You don't want any glass hanging over the bottom where it's going to be sitting and not hanging. So you don't want any glass hanging over that edge. Plus, the other thing is, if you have glass over the edge, the resin could drip over the edge, which I don't want to happen. I'm going to add just a little bit more resin on here over this little pieces of glass, torch it one more time, and move on to our next cross. Here we go. Let me torch it one more time. There we go. There's our Jesus cross. Move it out of the way. And this one is a 5x7. And this is one that's made with the extra strips of glass that I had from the commission that I'm working on, the frame. And so I made the cross. It's a glass chip. It's got the same metallic white background. So I'm going to do this one. I've already put glass on here. This is a blue glass from Michaels. It's very small glass. It's not big. I love this glass. I like working with small glass versus really big chunky glass, so I really like this one. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Cover all my glass first. I've already got glass on here, and this glass is a little thicker. It's a good bit thicker than what I just used, and so I put it on here and put the resin over the top. Make sure I get it stuck down good. Get everything covered, including the sides of my cross. Get everything covered. One of the things I was considering is doing some cross kits where you would get a 5x7. You would get strips of glass to make the cross that are already cut to length and ground, so you don't have to do any cutting. And the glass chip or some type of ornament to go over the top right there at where the cross joins together, and some background glass, 2 ounces of resin, which you can do one of these crosses in about 1 ounce of resin. So y'all tell me, is that something y'all would be interested in? I could include a PDF of how to make a cross, if that's something you would be interested in doing. Purchasing, let me know if that's something that you think might be a go. I've had people say they don't have time to come, they want a cross, they don't have time to come take a class. And so, but they want to make it, but they don't have the time to come here to do it. So I am considering that. Y'all let me know if that's something you think you might be interested in purchasing, or if you know someone who would be interested in purchasing something like that. I hope y'all are not bored just watching me spread resin. But I did want to do some Easter things. And I wanted to kind of keep it simple, especially since I'm here by myself. Okay, there we go. And I see something on here I need to get off. And I have one more. And that'll be the end of it. I don't know what that is. Something right there. I got it. Okay, there we go. All right, let's pop these bubbles, and we have one more to do. There you go. Move this one back over here. Oops, I see a bare spot right here. There we go. I'm gonna move this one over here to the side and get our last one. This is the same glass, whoops, the same background accent glass. The glass chip on this one is kind of a light blue. The background's been painted light blue, but the glass for the cross And this accent glass is exactly the same glass as the 5x7 I did. This is a 4x12 canvas. And I have an ounce of resin left. So, I had 4 ounces of resin, and this is my 6th piece. None of them were big. They're all small pieces, but that kind of gives you an idea of how much you can do with one of those little packets of resin. Make sure I get my sides. Of my cross. Get all down in here. All these little pieces covered. I don't know if I've told you guys, but we have a commission. I'm working on these 2 windows, but we have a commission to do a door. And if you've ever watched Virgin River on Netflix, there's a stained glass door in the doc's office in that show, and this customer had the door custom made for their front door, and we're putting the stained glass in it. It is gorgeous. The door is beautiful. Oh my gosh. The door is so cool. I cannot wait to get the glass in it. My resin's getting a little thick. Make sure I have resin on everything, and then I can spread it. So 45 minutes of working time with your resin, which was plenty of time to do all of these pieces that I did. And I am going to have used all of the resin, 4 ounces of resin for 6 pieces. I still have a little bit left in here, but I may need a little bit. We'll see. All right, I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull this to the edge just like I did on the others. Pull it out, all the way out to the edge of the canvas. And I see this one has some debris in it that I'm going to have to get out. Well, which is y'all's favorite? The blue cross or the stencil cross? And which bunny did you like the best? The stencil bunny or the foil bunny? The blue foil bunny. Y'all tell me which one you like the best. The bunny that I stenciled last year, I did that same shape, and I used scrapbook paper, and I Mod Podged. I cut it out, the shape of the bunny, and Mod Podged it on a canvas, and then I put Mod Podge over the top of the paper and added some glass and some resin, and it turned out really cute. So you don't have to paint. You can use things like papers and stuff like that, tissue paper, all kinds of things to do your art, napkins, all kinds of things. So you don't have to paint. I am not a very good painter. I'm learning, thanks to Tammy. I'm getting there, or I'm practicing. I don't know if I'm getting there or not, but I'm practicing. I'm trying. Between Tammy Lassiter and Cynthia Robertson, I'm trying to figure it out. They're both very good teachers. If you don't follow them, Follow them. They're awesome. Okay, I saw some debris up here, right here. It's a piece of fuzz right there. And right here. Make sure I got everything off of here. And I think I do. More debris. This one got a lot of fuzz on it. Okay, I think I need to torch it one more time. Okay, I used 4 ounces of resin. I did 4 crosses and 2 bunnies with 4 ounces of resin. So that is not bad. I'm going to move this down so I can get everything covered. Whoops, I see another piece of debris. Right here, piece of fuzz. Got it. And then I can turn the camera up. Take my gloves off. Oops, let me clean this up before I do that. Get everything cleaned up. Maybe. Clean up my tools. I'm just wiping my tools off so I can reuse them. This is a silicone popsicle stick and a silicone spreader, and so I'll use them again. I'm gonna take my gloves off and put it over here to dispose of.